Hey, good morning, team. It is Tuesday, January 21st. I'm Amy Corr. I'm here with Kevin Van Eck. And we have a great topic for you today. We are going to be talking about your why. I know we've done this in years past, but I think it's really important to revisit, being that it's a new year. But we're going to talk about your why, and the why is the ultimate one thing you need to be honing in on right now as you start your year off right. So on that note, let's grab our coffee. We also, Kevin, have a lot of Diet Coke fanatics out there. So I want to acknowledge those who might be popping a Diet Coke and putting it in a cup this morning. Whoever you are, whatever you're drinking, thank you for joining us. Let's jump into this, Kevin.
Let's do it.
Our next episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
And
the longest intro I've ever done.
But that was a good one. And our fun game today, see how many times we're going to say the word why. Why. So we all know, we've talked about it before, you have to have a why for what you're doing, right? And determining your why is going to have all these different impacts. If you're operating pretending like you don't have a why, or you're not aware of it, it's going to have an impact on your business, your personal life, decisions you make, all the things that you do, and you're not going to be able to be as successful, again, in your personal and career as you might otherwise be.
Yeah, I think it's important to be thinking about your why, and also just, I've been thinking about this a lot since this episode. I don't know if you've been thinking about it, but it's kind of like that thing that just really anchors you, right? It's really kind of like your compass. It's the one thing that once you figure out, like, why am I moving forward in this business? Why am I doing a lot of things in life, right? It helps you to make decisions that make sense when you know what you're doing it for, right? Like, I look at a lot of like my personal why stuff, my family, my kids, right? And a lot of the decisions that I make tend to be based off of how it may or may not impact them, right? When we take a look at our businesses, it can ultimately be the same thing. When we understand what we really want to accomplish, we might suddenly realize, am I attracting the right type of clientele that I want to? Am I developing the right kinds of relationships as it relates to my business? So, it really allows you to have that clear direction moving forward so that you can make, I think, ultimately better decisions. And I think it allows you also to keep some focus. When you don't really have or know why you're doing something, then you tend to, like I can, get a lot of, scatteredness and then end up not moving forward very effectively, right?
I think you said it right, like unfocused. You're just all over the place because you're not sure what's driving you. Or you're not acknowledging what's driving you. The other time where really having your why down is important is getting through tough times. And in real estate, we know tough times better than most. And if you just think even about this past year, or the past couple of years with interest rates, and this past year with the settlement and having to learn all of these new skills and have new conversations, or when the market tanks, if the market slumps in your area, what motivates you to keep going? It's going to be your why. But again, it's really tough to stay motivated. It's really tough to keep going, get up the day after a deal falls apart if you don't know why you're getting up. If you don't have something motivating you into taking that next step, doing it again, and moving on through your day.
Yeah. And I think of another thing that I know I struggle with is I do get off track a lot. And then I tend, like with any sort of thing that I focus on or the reasons why I'm doing something, right? Because I kind of get like shiny penny syndrome, right? And then it's the idea of always being able to kind of come back and anchor yourself to that why. And I think it's important because you are going to get distracted in business and you're going to maybe start off the year really intentional, doing things great, knowing your why, everything being crystal clear, and then the first thing, an obstacle or something challenging ends up hitting and you kind of stumble. So one of the things I think to think about is how do I anchor or even re-anchor myself when I'm going along and everything's okay, but then maybe I get off track with my goals or objectives for the year. And I think a lot of the stuff, Kevin, that we've talked about over the years really comes into effect, whether it's writing down gratitudes every day, kind of having a morning routine, maybe even journaling, and just taking some of that quiet time to kind of refocus. And, I think we tend to do that really at the beginning of the year. And then a lot of times we don't ever do that again. But creating a habit, whether it's once a week, once a day, just making sure that we are really mindful of what we're doing, how we're approaching our business. Am I taking steps that I identified maybe at the beginning of the year that were really going to allow me to maybe achieve the things I haven't before, or, do the things that ultimately impact the why, or the reason why I'm doing this in the first place.
Yeah, it gets you to where you want to go, right? And so, that's super interesting, the anchor. Going back to focus again, like you said, it's easy to be scattered and all over the place and make wild decisions that you otherwise wouldn't make if you don't take your why into account. So I like your idea of journaling and just being mindful.
And I think giving ourselves grace, though, too, because I know if a lot of you are out there like me, I always come out the new year like, good diet, good exercise, all the best of intentions, right?
Yeah.
And I end up running into a hiccup usually pretty quickly. So it's also allowing yourself some grace to know that, if you fall off, or if you are going down a path of bad habits or certain triggers that you sort of trigger you into things that you used to do that you didn't want to do, or are not valuable for your business or both, for you personally or professionally, it kind of, gets you back. But giving yourself some grace to know I can always re-anchor at any time. I think that's also an important thing for us to remember.
And that's the beauty of the intention that we talked about versus what New Year's resolutions. Yeah. We talked about intentions. You can fall off for a day and get right back on without blowing the entire year.
My intention was to not eat that cookie today, but tomorrow is a new day, right?
That's right. I had 6, but tomorrow the sun rises again.
Yes.
But we have some resources, and I guarantee you've likely heard of the first when it comes to determining your why. The first is the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. There's a couple of other books too. We'll put them in the comments, but there's also one that I don't know if you've seen it, but it's by Simon Sinek too. It's a workbook.
Oh, cool.
Based on that book. I haven't seen it, so I'm going to look that one up.
Yeah. And I think, isn't there also one, it's The One Thing, which is Gary Keller, also kind of hones in on that whole idea of your why. So so give it a shot and start focusing in on, I think, that most important thing. And I think ultimately stuff will start falling into place when you know why you're doing what you're doing.
That's exactly right.
On that note, we're wrapping up. Make it a great Tuesday. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. But until then, remember, you got this.